Hi, Matthew here. In today's short tutorial, I'm going to show you how to make what I call the Daft Punk effect on the Elektron Octatrack. The reason I call this effect the Daft Punk effect, as you may have guessed, is because it reminds me of Daft Punk, specifically harder, better, faster, stronger. The effect at its core is a bandpass filter running into a looper going into another filter. And I will explain exactly how to do that. But first, if you would like to just get this template or get this effect from my template, you're welcome to visit patreon.com/EZBOT, join the Patreon, and download my template there. Or you can just stick around right now, learn how to do it, which is what I recommend that you do. So because I typically use the Octatrack with incoming audio, and because this effect is most profound when used on an entire arrangement, we're going to start with a through track. So I'm going to double press source here on track 1. I'm going to go ahead and select a through track. Then I'm going to hit the record edit button here, place down a playback trig. This is so that my through track will activate. From here, because I have audio coming from my analog rhythm going into inputs B, and I also have audio coming into inputs C and D from the analog rhythm, we're going to use the through track to gather all of that audio. I'm going to select input B here, turn the volume all the way to plus 63, and input C and D here, and turn the volume to plus 63. Note you also want to have your level encoder, your level value set to 127 using your level encoder here, so that you don't attenuate any incoming audio. Okay, let's double check that our through machine works. I'm going to hit play on my analog rhythm. Cool, works just fine. Let's continue with the effect. Do note that you will need a master track for track A. So to do this, go into your project, Control, Audio, and select Master for track A. Then also make sure that you have your track level set to 127 on the master track. We will be using a filter over here. Okay, back to the effect. So choose a scene that you want to use for your effect. I'm going to use scene 3 because I have DP labeled underneath it for Daft Punk. Now go over to effects 1, which is where our filter should be, and parameter lock the width to 80, the Q to 45. Cool. Now we're going to move over to effects 2, double press, and this is where you should have a delay here. Set the delay lock to on, turn tape off, and I'm going to turn ping pong on because I like it. Now make sure you turn your send up so that it will still work. Now, in this scene, go ahead and lock the send to 0, the time to 128, the feedback to 127, the volume to 127, the bass to 0, and the width to 127. And the idea behind this is that we want to make sure that we gather the largest amount of time, which is going to be 8 steps of 16, and that the feedback all the way to 127 means that it won't stop. It'll continue as long as we have the effect in play. The volume so it doesn't attenuate any volumes, the bass and the width so it doesn't filter any of the echoes, and the send to 0 so that it triggers the freeze delay. So from here the effect should work. Let's check it out. Okay, so it doesn't sound the way that we want it to sound because we're not done yet. So part of the reason why we use a second filter on the master track is because, for one, we've only low passed it so far, so we haven't created the band pass quite yet. But second, you heard those pops and clicks? Well, that's because the freeze delay, it tends to do that when it does echoes or repeats. It catches a transient sometimes. It doesn't always do that, but sometimes it does. So we're going to use the filter over here in our scene, and we're going to parameter lock the Q down just a little bit, just to filter out those like pops and clicks there. And then this is where we're going to do the other side of our bandpass filter so that it creates a bandpass filter. We're going to parameter lock the bass to 62, and then we'll turn the Q up here as well. So all of this stuff is for you to play with, and you can reimagine this effect any way you want. But for right now, this should be pretty close to the one that you would find in my template. So let's check it out. We no longer have those pops. Oh, there's a little bit of one there. pops too much, you may want to take your width down further. There you go. And that maybe even lower sometimes. Something else that can help to remove pops and clicks is to actually use the tape delay rather than the delay that I've chosen. So let's check it out. Let's go to the tape delay and see how that sounds. It's quite perfect. But it has this like flip. It's up to you to do whatever you'd like. So the effect is almost finished, but the way I like to do it is with a neighbor track as well. So double press source, we're going to go in here, select a neighbor track, and for the first effect, we're going to use a lo-fi. So we'll take the lo-fi, and we're just going to turn up the AMD here a bit, about 32, and the AMF here to 32. Just adds a little bit of distortion and kind of makes the volume wobble a bit, right? And then we're going to go over to effects 2, and here we're going to add a chorus. And we'll leave these at their default settings, and we'll parameter lock the mix up to about 32. I like to make it really wide and give it just a little bit of feedback. And then here's how it will sound. I think there's a little too much filtering going on my master, because I was messing with that. I'll turn the Q up here too, it actually sounds pretty good. Cool. And that's how I made the Daft Punk effect. No matter where you are, you can grab a half note worth of audio and it will just loop like that. And of course, you can go in here and just mess with it as much as you want. But I think it sounds great. It's a lot of fun to play with. Feel free to join my Discord. There'll be a link in the description. And if you want the template, like I said before, go ahead and visit my Patreon. Throw all